Hello and welcome to Alternate Football History, where we look at the great what-ifs of the beautiful game and attempt to predict what may have happened if football had taken a different course. Remember to like and subscribe to get new videos every Tuesday, Thursday and Sunday. Disaster struck in 1985 as 39 people died before the European Cup final between Liverpool and Juventus. As a result, English clubs were banned from Europe for 5 years, with Liverpool being banned for a 6th year. So today we're going to look at what if English clubs didn't get banned from Europe? First and foremost, I don't want people to think that I don't believe that English clubs should have been banned. English clubs deserve to be banned because hooliganism had become too rampant in the sport. However, it would be interesting to see what would happen if the ban didn't occur. Now, English clubs had been dominant in Europe in the lead up to the ban, winning 7 of the last 8 European Cups before the Heysel final, with Hamburg being the only non-English winner in 1983. In the 5 years leading up to it, here is how English clubs did. So in 80-81, Liverpool won the European Cup, with Nottingham Forest getting to the first round, qualifying as current champions. West Ham got to the quarter-final of the Cup Winners' Cup, whilst Ipswich Town won the UEFA Cup, bettering the first round exits of Manchester United and Wolves. Into the 81-82 season, and Aston Villa were champions of Europe. Tottenham got to the Cup Winners' Cup semi-final, and it was a generally poor performance in the UEFA Cup by Ipswich, Arsenal, West Brom and Southampton. 82-83 was one of the worst years in Europe leading up to the ban for English clubs. Villa and Liverpool only got to the quarter-final of the European Cup, whilst Tottenham got to the second round of the Cup Winners' Cup, and all 4 English clubs that entered the UEFA Cup lost in the first round. In the 83-84 season, Liverpool were European Cup champions and Tottenham were UEFA Cup champions, meaning it was a great year for English football. Manchester United got to the Cup Winners' Cup semi-final, as did Nottingham Forest in the UEFA Cup, whilst Watford and Villa had fairly poor European campaigns. In the final season before the ban, Everton won the Cup Winners' Cup. Liverpool were runners-up in that tragic final against Juventus, and in the UEFA Cup, with Tottenham winning the previous year, there was 5 English entrants, with United and Tottenham getting to the quarter-final, whilst QPR, Nottingham Forest and Southampton going out fairly early. So let's have a look at who would have competed in the next 5 seasons and predict how they may have done. In order to predict what draw these English clubs would have got, I've had a look at each of those seasons. In the earlier ones, English clubs were drawn and the clubs they were due to play against got a bye. For the European Cup and the Cup Winners' Cup, it's fairly simple. Winners go into it and take up the place that would have been taken up by the English teams. In the UEFA Cup, as a result of the English ban, Italy, Portugal, the Soviet Union and the Netherlands gained an extra place. So the team in those countries that finished lowest in the league the previous season are replaced with the English club that would have got there. So let's get straight into it with the 85-86 season. The English entrance to the European Cup would have been Everton as league champions in 1985. They would have drawn Anderlecht in the first round and then played Omonia, Bayern Munich before facing Steaua Bucharest in the semi-final. Steaua Bucharest were excellent that year and went on to win the entire competition, so I think the semi-final is as far as Everton would have got. In the Cup Winners' Cup, the English entrant would have been Manchester United. First round, they would have been drawn against Benfica, which would have been a tough tie, but I think they would have got past it. Similar in round 2 against Sampdoria. An easy-ish quarter-final against Dukla Prague would set up a semi-final against Dynamo Kiev, who were very good at the time and I think would better Manchester United and get to the final. In the UEFA Cup, the English entrants would be Liverpool, Tottenham, Norwich and Southampton. Norwich would go out early, facing a very good Hamburg side in the first round, whilst Southampton would go out in the second round to Real Madrid. I think Tottenham would make it to the quarter-final, beating Partizan Nantes and Spartak Moscow, but lose to Inter at that stage. However, I think Liverpool would go on and win the entire competition. They may struggle against Real Madrid in the final, but given their European credentials in the previous decade, I think Liverpool would win the UEFA Cup that year. Into the 86-87 season, and Liverpool would enter the European Cup as English champions, facing Steaua Bucharest and Anderlecht in the early round before losing to Bayern Munich in the quarter-final. They may get past them, but it would be too much to suggest that Liverpool are simply going to beat every club in Europe every season, as that just won't happen. So I think they'd lose to Bayern Munich in this year's competition. Into the Cup Winners' Cup, and its rivals Everton that represent England there. Having a fairly easy run to the semi-finals, they would then come up against a very good Ajax side and unfortunately not quite make the final. In the UEFA Cup, England would be represented by West Ham United, Manchester United, Sheffield Wednesday, and because Liverpool qualify for the European Cup and don't get a place in the UEFA Cup, it would be filled by Oxford United with their only ever season in Europe. Unfortunately, they wouldn't go very far, coming up against Swedish side IFK Göteborg in the second round. Similar story for Sheffield Wednesday, who would get knocked out by Torino in the second round. Manchester United would go one further and lose to Borussia Mönchengladbach in the third round, who were an excellent side in the late 80s and would then also knock out West Ham in the quarter-final. A disappointing year for English clubs in Europe, and maybe a sign that England is beginning to be caught up or even overtaken by leagues such as the Italian League. Into the 87-88 season, and Everton would once again be England's entrance into the European Cup. Everton was superb around this time, given the fact that the likes of Nottingham Forest and Aston Villa had won the European Cup in the last 10 years. I don't think it's outrageous to say that Everton could repeat their success. Although they had a fairly difficult run playing PSV, Real Madrid and Benfica, I think this Everton side may well have been the best side in Europe in 1988 and go on to become champions in the European Cup. In the Cup Winners' Cup, England is represented by Coventry City, who may not be the strongest entrants, but would come up against a very strong Ajax side in the quarter-final and be knocked out there. In the UEFA Cup, we would get Liverpool, Tottenham, Norwich and Arsenal. Tottenham would be unfortunate enough to face against Barcelona in the first round, whilst Norwich would face Italian side Hellas Verona in the second round. Arsenal would make it all the way to the semi-final with a fairly easy run before facing a strong Bayer Leverkusen. Bayer Leverkusen would then face Liverpool in the final, but I think Liverpool, given their European credentials again, would go all the way and win the UEFA Cup for a second time in this 5-year ban period. Into the 88-89 season, and as Everton won the European Cup, there would be two English clubs in the competition. Liverpool would join them, although they would go out in the second round to an excellent Milan side who would go on to win the entire competition. Meanwhile, Everton would come up against Real Madrid in the quarter-final and would be unable to repeat the previous season's success. Surprise Cup winners Wimbledon would get a season in Europe in the Cup Winners' Cup, although I don't think they'd go very far, losing to Frankfurt in the second round. England's UEFA Cup entrants would be Manchester United, Nottingham Forest, QPR and Luton Town, with this season being Luton Town's only season in Europe outside of the Anglo-Italian Cup. Unfortunately, they'd only get to the second round, with Victoria Bucharest knocking them out and going quite far. Still, it'd be a round further than Forest and QPR, who had come up against very strong sides in the first round in Ajax and Atletico Madrid. Manchester United would go a bit further, reaching the quarter-final, where they would come up against Diego Maradona's Napoli and unfortunately not make it any further. So into our fifth and final extra season of English clubs in Europe, and it would be Arsenal having their first taste of a European Cup in this era. They'd go fairly far, but as in the previous year with Liverpool, would lose to a strong Milan side who would go on to win the competition. In the Cup Winners' Cup, Liverpool would be the entrants, having a fairly easy run of Dynamo Bucharest, Panathinaikos, Partizan and Anderlecht before a tough final against Sampdoria. I think Liverpool would go all the way, however, and win the tournament. In the UEFA Cup, Nottingham Forest would again be England's representatives alongside Norwich, Derby and Tottenham. Norwich would be knocked out by Napoli, again inspired by Diego Maradona, whilst Derby would go at the second one to Stuttgart, perhaps a sign that the Bundesliga is catching up with Division 1. Forest would knock out Atletico Madrid, Show and Dynamo Kiev as they got to the quarter-final, only to lose to fellow English club Tottenham Hotspur, the first time two English clubs have faced each other in this alternate history. Tottenham would then go all the way to the final, but lose at the final hurdle as they're defeated by Juventus. So there's the 5 years. Let's have a quick look at the overview. So 4 English champions across the 15 competitions, which is 2 less than the 5 years previous. However, I think this is partly because the increase of the talent in Italy and Germany and Spain is catching up with England, and England's dominance is beginning to fall apart. However, 4 European trophies is still a success. With Liverpool winning 3 of the 4 tournaments and Everton winning the 88 European Cup, I think it's fair to say that Everton would be the team who miss out most from the English ban. Maybe ironic given that the ban was instigated after a game including their rivals Liverpool, that Everton are the club to miss out on the major competition. I truly think that Everton in the late 80s were a top side and did miss out on a really strong chance of winning the European Cup. And that brings us to the end of our alternate football history. Remember to like and subscribe to get more videos, and comment down below how you think English clubs would have done in this period.